Philosophy. All learning exclusive of technical precepts and practical arts.
Fanatic. Marked by excessive enthusiasm and often intense, uncritical devotion.
Let's philosophize.
Let's philosophize. This is our first episode of Philosophical Fanatics with Philosophical Faust, and I'm Philosophical Frederick.
Hello, I'm here.
And welcome to FNF.
Our first episode is over the question, what is truth? And Lucas is going to start the show.
Okay. Well, so with truth, you can narrow it down, and what I've seen so far is truth can be considered into four categories. There is absolute truth, there is relative truth, there is factual truth, and there is post-truth. Absolute truth refers to truth which is absolute whole. You cannot change it, and it just doesn't change. It stays the same throughout all of history. And relative truth is truth which continually changes, such as from day to night. It can be one thing one day and another thing another day. And it just changes continually. Then there is post-truth, which is truth which is, it puts feelings and emotions over facts. And factual truth is where you put facts over everything else and you consider facts the truth.
I kind of have the same kind of feeling, but mine is in like a two different wave form. Mine is in like physical truth, where you have like actual people dying, actual things that are happening that you can physically see. And then also there is apparent truth. Like here in North Platte, the housing crisis was stated, but we weren't really in a housing crisis. It was just a way to fabricate the mind to change in a way that we think that it's a truth, but it's not really a truth, and it was just a way to ploy out more money towards the housing groups, the realtors. That's it.
Wouldn't that be just a lie, a straight out lie?
Technically, yes, but if it's thought to be a truth in the mind of the people, then it's going to be thought as a truth.
So kind of like deception.
Sort of in a way, yes.
I see.
Well, completely, almost.
Complete deception.
Yeah. And it's just a way to put it in your mind. Okay.
Well, you see, I kind of think that there is I would say truth should be based on facts, in my opinion. Because with facts, and also kind of playing on absolute truth, which factual truth and absolute truth kind of go hand in hand, while relative truth and post-truth also go together pretty well as well. Facts, because facts, they don't change over time, they're consistent. You're not gonna be walking down the road one day and then boom, you die because of nothing.
So basically you're saying these are put on a spectrum of sorts, where truth is put on a side and false truth is sort of put on a side?
Consistent truth and then false truth. I don't believe in false truth because it is false.
Of course.
And that philosophical fast, how that's on the spectrum.
Well, see, you kind of said that, here, I can illustrate it. I have my philosophical notepad here. So
There is relative truth
And
and
post-truth.
post-truth.
Okay.
Yes. That was, by the way, that was the dictionary word of the month for 2016, I believe. Now I'm going to search that up.
Oh, and then also, this month's question on philosophynow.com is what is truth? So I kind of find that weird that kind of went hand in hand there.
Okay, so funny is that post-truth was the word of the year for 2016, according to the Oxford Dictionary.
Well, give their definition, why don't you, philosophical Frederick?
Okay. An adjective, post-truth, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is an adjective defined as relating to or denoting circumstances in which objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion than appeals to emotion and personal belief.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so here is my spectrum. And here we have the good side and the bad side. So there it is. As you can see what I kind of mean, right? In a way.
Yes. However, can we call one side good and one side bad? Can one truth be good and one truth be bad?
Well, I mean, physically. Not physically.
Physically.
Philosophically.
Philosophically.
So, physically, the good side is what you want. You want to have the absolute truth. You want to have the fact truth. You don't want to have a relative or post-truth.
Okay.
It's kind of like if you are the person, you want this side and not that side.
You want consistent truth which stays the same and is based
Yes.
on something that isn't going to change, facts, over relative truth which is constantly changing and based on opinion.
So, would you say science is relative truth?
Well, I mean, considering that science is based on facts and that factual truth and absolute truth go hand in hand, I wouldn't think so.
Well, okay, let's take Pluto for a change here, a ride, whatever. Out there in the back, Pluto was a planet. Okay? Now here is the world gone changing and the scientists start thinking, the Pluto has now become the dwarf planet. So now all those facts back then, or factual truth back then, is now wrong. It's now post-truth or relative?
It'd be relative truth then.
Okay,
So truth that constantly changes.
yes.
So would relative truth be... Would knowledge be considered relative truth? Because considering that knowledge is growing, and we never at one point really know everything, would knowledge be considered relative truth?
I'd say possibly, yes.
Because
Excuse me.
so far, I mean, I don't think that human beings are just one day going to be like, oh, we know everything, and then be like, yeah, knowledge will continually be changing.
Sometimes in the clear, distant future, maybe. Because, who knows, our brains may become hard drives in the future and just plug in a USB with all the knowledge and get all that.
Maybe, hopefully not that.
I know, hopefully not. Hopefully I'm not alive for that.
But
Hopefully my kids aren't either.
So if knowledge is relative truth, would the world that we live in be built on absolute truth? Because, I mean, even though we don't know everything, we do know that some things, once we know them, are just going to stay the same. Such as gravity.
Gravity and how water is water and grass is grass and how grass grows and how...
1 + 1, we know.
Yeah, basically the basic normal necessities of life,
Mhm.
basically.
So that would be absolute knowledge, because then we know that that's never going to change. Grass isn't just going to just come up one day and be like, you know what, I want to be a tree. That's just not how our world works.
Yeah.
I mean,
It'd be a pretty wacky world.
yeah, our world is kind of just founded upon just laws.
Natural necessities.
Yeah, laws that kind of, natural necessities that kind of just are made, and they can't be changed. They just kind of govern our world in a way.
Yeah.
Absolute laws and absolute laws of absolute truths.
Absolute truth.
There are two people. One is standing there looking out, and he sees a rock, and he's like, that's an interesting rock. While the guy beside him goes, what are you talking about? He has a sniper rifle and is aiming at the quote-unquote rock and fires. The rock falls down and is dead. He says, man, that was a nice elephant I shot. Which person is right? One believes that it's a rock, yet the other believes that it was an elephant. So the factual truth of it, the truth is that it is an elephant, yet the other person emotionally feels that it is a rock. So who is right?
No, physical truth.
Physical truth.
Because basically he's giving an apparent truth. The guy that says, oh look, there's a rock. That's physical, not physical, apparent truth. And the guy that shoots it, he is physical truth. But they both could be physical truth at the point before the action was being taken.
Now here's our quotable quotes on truth for the evening. Comes from Jesus, from John 8:32. And it says, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Meaning that if you truly have truth, then it will set you free.
My quote is from Winston Churchill, one of my favorite, maybe World War II times person. And his quote is, a lie gets halfway around the world before truth has a chance to put on its pants. We learned that good and bad truth are a thing. That me and Lucas kind of have the same thoughts on truth.
Slightly different though.
Slightly different, but mainly the same. There is a lie and a truth. It's basically held out to that.
Yeah, in this video you kind of learned about the 4 different types of truth, which people kind of see, and the other different types of truths as well, that Reese kind of explained. We've covered many truths, and we'll continue to discuss truth itself in some later videos.
So, catch us next time on the next installment of Philosophical Fanatics. See you next time. This video was made possible by
Caring for the Heart, Nebraska, and they have generously allowed us to film here, and we're giving a shout out to them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.